Hello, everybody, and thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Cecilia Rayburn, and I will be the host of today's web event. I am the Events and Communication Coordinator at the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum, and I am excited to have with me today Noor Hashim Fawaz, President and founder of Build a Dream. The Canadian Apprenticeship Forum is a nonprofit organization that connects Canada's apprenticeship community. Participants work collaboratively to support vibrant and innovative apprenticeship systems and policies with a view of developing a highly skilled, inclusive, and mobile skilled trades workforce. Employers, unions, equity-seeking groups, educational institutions, and jurisdictions support the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum through annual memberships. The Canadian Apprenticeship Forum is the only organization that brings together apprenticeship stakeholders from across trades, sectors, and across the country to share information and promising practices, identify challenges, and propose joint solutions. As a national voice for the apprenticeship community, the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum influences apprenticeship strategies through research, discussions, and collaborations. Its research and events provide stakeholders with accurate, unbiased insights into the apprenticeship challenges and barriers and illustrates the substantial benefits of hiring and training apprentices. Noor Hashim Fawaz founded Build a Dream in 2014 after a special event that was held to address the skilled trades and STEM shortages in Windsor, Ontario. Build a Dream works to empower young women to make informed career choices by using ads, survey, feedback, and success stories to track the positive impact their programming has made in the communities it serves. Build a Dream addresses the need to include parents and other adult influencers when reaching out and educating young women on their career options. Today, Noor will share with us some of the best practices she has developed and implemented through Build a Dream program, as well as some of the tools that they have used to increase engagements across the country. The Canadian Apprenticeship Forum is so happy to have Build a Dream as a member and is thrilled to highlight and share the great work that they're continuing to do. Thank you, Noor, for joining us today.
Thank you so much for having me, Cecilia. Should I just get started? So my apologies.
Let you go ahead.
Okay, great. So I'm absolutely thrilled to be able to share this workshop with everyone. Build a Dream, as Cecilia has said, has been in existence since 2014. What started as a grassroots initiative in our local area, which is Windsor, Essex, has now led to a national movement influencing over 10,000 parents and their daughters to consider career pathways, not only within the skilled trades, but in male-dominated industries. I want to first start off with a video that's going to help set the tone for my workshop and then go into the history of Build a Dream, some of the tools we use to engage more youth, and some of the recommendations we have for some stakeholders, both in education, industry, and community to help increase the number of youth interested in the skilled trades.
We use positive messages that encourage her to explore, to try new things. We love her questions. We tell her she can be anything she wants to be. She's listening. In no time, the world is bombarding her with messages that interrupt everything she believes in. They tell her how to behave, how to dress, stop asking questions. They even tell her the script that has been written for her life. Even telling her what jobs she can and can't do. Oh, she's listening. And even if she's surrounded by family and friends, we know by the age of 14, her confidence will plummet. Is she listening? Imagine a world where, despite the data, we help support her during these challenging years. We tell her to take risks, discover new skills, question things. We tell her that she can really be anything. But if we stop to think about it, it's such an easy thing to do. All we have to do is change our behavior, change our messages, make her feel like she belongs. She's equal. But she doesn't just need to feel equal in the community. She needs to know that she has the power to build serve, assist, and lead it. She's listening.
Are you?
Every message matters.
So the goal of the organization this year is to really address the gender bias that goes into career development and career discovery for youth. One of the things that we did find as throughout the years in leading our organization across the province of Ontario and now across Canada is that there's underlying messages that are impacting and influencing the career pathways that young women are pursuing, especially within the skilled trades. So that campaign video that was just launched on International Day of the Girl has a goal to really help shape the way we see women within the workforce and is encouraging stakeholders, whether it's parents, industry, or education, to really reflect on the messages that we're giving young women about their role within the industry, and ultimately that could lead to the participation of them within the industry. So increasing the participation of youth across the board is going to take a holistic approach, and I believe that that's where our strength lies as an organization. The 5 pillars that we do focus on, just to set the tone, is skilled trades, science, technology, and entrepreneurship and mathematics. STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Emergency response, entrepreneurship, and then the 5th pillar is advancing women. And what we mean by that is really talking about a greater dialogue that needs to happen at the community level about what it's going to take to help advance women into leadership roles, politics, and in areas that women are significantly underrepresented. So we are encouraging stakeholders to empower students to reimagine their career pathway. So much has changed when it comes to the pathways that young people and youth are taking when it comes to their future. And what we're asking stakeholders to do is help young youth reimagine their career pathway. So as opposed to us looking at it as a linear pathway, encouraging them that there's different opportunities for them once they choose a path. So for example, should they want to go into become an electrician, they can then become a job site manager. They can go lead into becoming a teacher at the college level. There are different pathways that they could definitely once they go into that industry. So for us, we believe that a skilled girl force is going to really start at a very young age in the messaging and then how we encourage young women to pursue themselves within those career pathways. So we use a lot of our marketing strategy to help communities reshape how they encourage young women to pursue different career goals. So we launched this campaign back in 2017 with the goal of showcasing that it really starts at an early age. Young women, if they see it, they believe that they can achieve it. We believe that you can't be what you can't see. So even if we translate that to all youth, in order for them to see themselves in a successful pathway, we need to show them how that pathway could lead to that success. So what we do is we empower female students to pursue careers they may have previously overlooked. We collaborate with partners to support workforce diversity, and we deliver specialized initiatives like career expos, hands-on camps, access to Dream Network. What we mean by that is the opportunity for youth to connect with people in the field to ask questions. We do school talks, and we have we're currently working on a digital career experience where parents and young women can have the chance to explore our career guide and see what opportunities are within their own communities to access as early as high school for them to explore these pathways. And we hold our signature events across Canada. Our signature event, what it encompasses is it invites parents and their daughters in as early as grade 7 to grade 12 to come to an evening event where we create this career discovery experience that's very empowering, engaging, and influencing the different career choices young women are making. So they come to our event and they get a chance to listen to a female panel of females across different pathways sharing their journey to success, but really providing an authentic snapshot of what a career looks like in that particular trade. Then they get a chance to network with industry along with education to learn about the different career pathways that they could pursue. And it also gives an opportunity for parents who might have this perception of the pathway in their minds to really remove that stereotypical thought of, does my daughter have an opportunity in the industry? and it showcases to parents that industry is actually invested in diversity and would recruit their daughters should they pursue that pathway. What we found in our research is that parents are the key influencers, and truly in order to get to the youth, whether it's men or women, we need to get to the parents because they'll play a huge factor in helping their child navigate the system. But what we also found is that parents really want to feel confident that once their child graduates or pursues a particular program, that it's going to lead to employment. Ultimately, they want them to be successful. So we encourage companies to come to our event and share these stories and open up their doors so that parents feel a little bit more confident should their child pursue that pathway. They also get a chance to do hands-on activities with our local colleges and universities who provide an opportunity for the young women to explore these pathways. So they actually build things while they're at our event, and they get to take them home with them. We also have a photo booth where young women get to dress up in different career pathways. Again, with the notion of you can't be what you can't see. It's another way that we try to create this experience that's very encouraging and empowering and helps shape their career discovery pathway. We have giveaways, and then we do survey all of our attendees to better understand what if the information we're providing is actually beneficial and is shaping their perception about themselves in these fields. And what we hear overwhelmingly, doesn't matter what city we're in, that a lot of parents had no knowledge of some of these career pathways or that these were opportunities for their daughters. But we also hear often from the young women that they love hearing the stories shared by the female panelists, and that it often makes them believe that they could achieve it as well. And that's where we really encourage organizations, companies, and schools to tap into female mentors to share their journey so that young women can begin to see themselves within those roles. I do have a video to share with you just to kind of give you an idea of what one of our events looks like. So this one happened in Kitchener-Waterloo, and it's about 3 minutes long, but it'll give you an idea of what an event looks like for Build a Dream.
Having Build a Dream come here to Kitchener-Waterloo area is amazing because it really encourages the young women to learn a lot more about what this can offer to them.
And what's unique about this is that it's bringing a parent and a daughter. So you need that parental influence to be able to really explore what the opportunities are and have the support of the parent for a young girl to consider going into a non-traditional career.
Just be open-minded. It's really hard to know what you want to do when you're in high school. So keep an open mind and just try everything out.
I think events like Build a Dream are really important because you're able to see right from industry at the coalface what opportunities there are for women in STEM careers.
OEAP is a program where students in co-op can start working within the trade.
For the young women at Build a Dream, please do not let anyone tell you you can't. Try for something you can.
Be yourself and put yourself out there and chase your dreams, and don't let anyone stop you from doing anything that you love.
A lot of the girls don't know what they want to do yet, but the idea that they're here and their parents are bringing them here to learn and have their eyes opened to see so many different opportunities for girls, it's just so amazing. It's a great opportunity.
Before I came here, I kind of had a clue of what I wanted to do, but when I heard the keynote speaker, Jamie, and all these inspiring women talk to me about all their career paths and everything that they did to get to where they are now, it opened my eyes up to so many more opportunities that I could go into and that could benefit me.
Dream big. There are so many options and so many rewarding careers that you have no idea existed.
Events like this shows that there are other women out there that are doing this, so it shows you can do it too.
Try as many trades as you can and find out what you like.
Don't be afraid, ask questions, and you can do anything that you put your mind to.
We are here to support your future career pathways and encourage you while empowering you to make those informed career decisions.
That was just a quick snapshot of one of our events. I think it really paints a picture of how we've worked collaboratively with multiple stakeholders to really make provide young women the opportunity with their parents to learn about these different career pathways. And we've taken on a different approach. We really build on the experience that we create at our event. You heard a lot of the employers talk about how they are trying to inspire, engage, and empower young women to pursue these pathways. There is this notion that there's still some perception and stereotypes out there when it comes to the skilled trades. So adding fun into the career discovery, I believe, is really essential in trying to recruit more youth into these pathways. So that goes into how we do it. We engage young women with their parents. We always offer quality information in one location. The ultimate goal is to connect parents and their daughters to the resources, network, tools, and information they need in order to make an informed decision. As an organization, we believe there's so much power that comes with the ability to make an informed career choice before you invest all your money into your educational goals. So our event really helps capture that opportunity at an early age, as early as grade 7, so that they can navigate their grade school and high school system a little bit more informed, so that should they decide to go into a skilled trades program or a co-op program in grade 10 or 11, they have that information prior to making that decision. We make our events very informative, but we also create this fun atmosphere. It is very stressful thinking about what you want to be when you grow up. So our goal is to remove all that stress away from that and that uncertainty, and just create an opportunity for them to come through, walk through our doors, really enjoy the evening. I always find it really interesting as parents and young women leave our event. I usually sit near the exit just to hear some of their feedback. And many of them return to our event or share comments like, you know, all the puzzle pieces came together for me. I was so surprised how many companies were really invested in my future, or the school boards taking on a very proactive role in wanting to encourage their students to pursue these pathways. So we have a lot of our attendees walk away feeling very empowered and informed. And we recruit members from our Dream Network. We network significantly with sponsors and partners. And one of the work that we also do is we speak with government at all levels to really keep top of mind what it's going to take to help not only young women access these career pathways that there is a shortage, but how do we begin to change our approach in the way we recruit youth into these pathways. So currently we're in Windsor, London, Kitchener-Waterloo, Bruce Grey, York, and Durham. We're also expanding into Calgary and Edmonton by 2020. And the reason I have this is what started as a grassroots initiative in Windsor back in 2014. We hosted our first event at our local community college, which was St. Clair College. And we had about 130 parents attend with their daughters, and I would say about 10 companies. And I remember making those calls with industry and encouraging them to come, you know, to our event so that they can network with young women who may be interested in the skilled trades. And not one company registered back in 2014. So I chose to change the script, and as opposed to saying young women, I said students would be coming with their parents to the event. And I saw a dramatic increase in a number of companies that did attend our event. So in 2014, we had about out of those 10 to 15 companies come out. Fast forward to this year in 2019, 2018. 2018, we sold out. We had over 1,000 parents and their daughters in attendance and over 50 exhibitors. So it really not only shows the interest level from the parents and the young women, but it shows the commitment from industry and stakeholders in our community saying we really need to promote more of these pathways to the other 50% of the population, but we also play a role in recruiting our future workforce. We are open to moving into different cities, so should there be a school board that wants to inquire a little bit more about the information, please feel free to reach out to me, and I'd be happy to connect with you on how to host a Build a Dream event within your region. I think one of our significant strengths, or I do believe one of our significant strengths, is that we use our brand to build a movement and to create a very engaging marketing messaging so that we're removing the stereotypes and the perception before the parents and the young women enter. We could have simply called it a skilled trades event or a STEM event, but a couple of things we found from research that we did as an organization was, one, there was still particular perceptions of what it means to go into the skilled trades and what types of jobs are within the skilled trades. And a lot of the youth said that they didn't even know what the acronym STEM stood for. So for us, language was very key and promotion was very key in how we rolled out some of our programming and our event. And I do believe that that plays a role in the amazing attendance that we get, whether it's in Windsor, Kitchener-Waterloo, or London, and now we're in different regions. We do sell out at all of our events. So we've impacted over 10,000 parents and their daughters, and we've engaged over 300 industry partners. I often joke that yes, we've seen significant growth since 2014, but probably for every 100 companies or stakeholders that we call, we may get 1 or 2 yeses. So there's still a lot of work to be done, but I think it says a lot when a lot of the companies that come to our first event come back to our second and realize that they need to be more proactive in the approach that they take in building the future pipeline. I do recognize that the need is now, but the need is just going to grow. And unless we begin to invest as early as high school in building that pipeline, it's going to be very difficult for us to really bridge the skilled trade shortage. Because I often ask, how many people do you need in the pipeline? And what I mean by that, how many people do you need going into the skilled trades program in high school or registering as apprentices today in order for you to have the skill force that you need? And I encourage companies to do that evaluation and to forecast 5-10 years ahead, because as we know, it usually takes 4 to 5 years to get your journey person ticket or to finish your training. So that means that we do need to we need to project 5 to 10 years, even 15 years ahead in order to really build that pipeline. So we've had a great impact. This impact is going to double by 2020, simply because we've grown from being in 3 cities in 2018, 2019 to over 10 in the year 2020. So I talk a lot about engaging parents because they are the key influencers. They do support their children's decision when it comes to the pathway that they choose. But I often say also parents are industry and they're educators. So if we can begin to change the mindset of companies who are also parents, that we're going to begin to challenge the gender bias at the societal level and reshape the way we encourage youth to pursue different career pathways. So we recently did a great announcement with Carpenters Union, who's one of our corporate sponsors and partners, and they've been working with us for the past 2 years. And the local chapter, what they found was in less than 2 years of working with our organization and promoting the pathways within construction, they went from 1 female on job sites to over 10 female on a job site in a year and a half. And they saw the value that it took to really align themselves with an organization or any organization that's really bringing the gendered lens to the table and also encouraging youth to pursue these pathways. So at this press conference, he did share with us not only the impact that our organization had on the industry as a whole, but he is a father of 3 girls, and he talked about how his daughter was inspired after coming to our event. So I just want to play this video for you so that you can hear firsthand what his perspective was in working with our organization. Work. Give me 1 second, my apologies. Okay, I'm having some technical difficulties. I encourage you, I'll share actually the link to this video in the chat just so that you can access it. But I thought it was really great because not only is he speaking to the media about the Carpenters Union's achievement in getting more women in the skilled trades by partnering with their organization, he talked about how that influenced his own home and his daughters as well. And I think that that is really key to really changing our approach in supporting more young women to go into these pathways and recognizing that every opportunity we get to shape the message is an opportunity we receive to help shape our workforce. So who do we partner with and how are we able to achieve our results? Well, as I mentioned, parents are the key decision makers. We really promote men as allies. They are partners in trying to create a more gender balanced workplace and workforce. I often say it's not a women's issue, it's society's issue that we all need to tackle together. Education, communicating positive messaging, and industry, and that's where the opportunities are. So educators have the opportunity to influence those pathways by exposure and learning and knowledge opportunities and training opportunities. And then industry can open their doors and support educators by supporting the programs at the grade school and high school and college level. So we take a multi-pronged approach, believing that parents are the #1 influencers, educators are key stakeholders along with industry, and really highlighting and bringing the female mentors' voice to the table so that young women can see it to believe it, and parents feel confident that if other women have succeeded in these pathways, then there's room for their daughters to succeed as well. But the first thing we challenge is mindset. I often say it's one thing to fill the skilled trade shortage, but we really need to challenge the mindsets that are out there in order to touch on the underlying issues and the limiting opportunities for youth to go into these pathways. We often hear skilled trades is not for smart people. So how often have we heard that those that may not be doing well in school are more applied learners are the ones that are being encouraged to go into the skilled trades, and then everybody else is encouraged to go to university because there's this perception that smart people go to the university and not so smart people go into the skilled trades. We know that that's false. We know that there is great skills and qualifications that goes into becoming a skilled trades worker. No bridge, no building, no roads, no bridges would ever be built without any of the talented skilled tradespeople that have built communities and cities and countries. So we recognize that there's a mindset out there of who needs to do what role, and we need to remove all that stigma and the messaging behind this. So one thing I often talk about is if we know that that's a limitation, why don't we begin to highlight the intelligence behind the skilled trades workers, the intelligence behind being able to wire an entire house or build a bridge or work on a construction site? Because ultimately, at the end of the day, we're not only challenging gender bias, we're also challenging the mindsets that are out there with who should pursue the skilled trades and who should pursue a more university white-collar job. So going into gender bias, that's another thing that our organization really looks at, and there's an underlying message of, what jobs women should do in the workforce and what their role is in the home. And I often, even in speaking with industry, educators, parents, often hear comments that, women may not belong in the industry, or that there's limitations between the restrooms. So back in 2012, when we set out to really set certain goals to get more women into these pathways, we started speaking to industry to say, what are your limitations? How many women do you have on your job site, and what could we do to get more women into the industry? And one thing they said is just that women don't apply. So we could have stopped there and assumed that women just didn't want these jobs or didn't find these jobs interested. But instead, what we did was a proactive approach, realize that women are significantly underrepresented and that there's other barriers that are underlying when it comes to encouraging women to pursue these pathways. So we knew awareness was key. Exposure was another avenue that we needed to tackle. So fast forward to a couple years later, after our community launched a Women in Skilled Trades program led by Women's Enterprise Skills Training of Windsor in partnership with St. Clair College, where women got a chance to train 19 weeks in school training and 12-week paid placement. So I went back to those same employers and said, great, like now I have the female applicants that are interested in going onto your job site. And the first thing that they said, well, I don't have any female restrooms. So that's a limitation. And then they used other, what I call excuses not to hire women. So we walked through this challenge of restrooms, and believe it or not, this was in 2015, 2016, where companies did not have a female restroom on their shop floor. So I said, well, how many restrooms do you have on your shop floor? And some had 2. And I said, okay, well, on one, could you make it a female restroom? And then on the other, a male. And that could be a very inexpensive, easy approach to take for them to uncover this particular challenge that they were addressing. But that comes down to the gender bias is we've created institutions and workplaces under the notion that women don't want, or can't do these positions. And what we're challenging is it's actually our approach and our mindset in recruiting women into these industries that have created these limitations. And ultimately, now we as collaborative stakeholders need to work together to challenge these gender stereotypes and to encourage companies to not only recruit more women, but create more inclusive workplaces so that women feel they belong within the industry. And restrooms is key. I'll give you another example of how this was so important in the work that we did. So back in 2015, when we hired our first cohort with industry, that was a barrier, was getting companies to introduce their first female facility for their first female on the shop floor. Fast forward to 2017, a year later, employers in interviews were sharing with the female candidates that they introduced a female washroom, and they were so proud because they had changed their workplace environment to really become more inclusive to women. And I remember one of my female candidates coming, and I said, "How did your interview go?" And she said, "It was really good, but it was a little odd because the employer was so proud that he introduced a female facility in his workplace, and I was confused because in her mind it should have been normal that there should be female and male facilities, but that was the advancement that we were able to make within that industry to really encourage companies to look within their own infrastructure, their policies, their procedures, their recruitment tools to see, are you attracting women simply by how you've designed and you're marketing these opportunities? And if not, these are the steps we encourage you to take to become more of an inclusive employer. We often hear, as I mentioned, women don't belong in the industry. I remember getting a lot of no's within a particular month, and I was getting really discouraged. So I went to one of my advisors that I really admire and said, I really need to know the conversations that happen behind closed doors, because in order for us to really begin to create a shift in mindsets, to challenge gender bias, I need to know what people say behind closed doors so that I could create strategies and messaging to really remove those barriers and hurdles from getting us to really shift perceptions about where women belong in the industry. And he said, ultimately, sometimes companies are uncomfortable hiring females because they've never had one in their workplace, and that's the honest truth. So then I said, well, what are some of the barriers, or why would you be worried to tap into the other 50% in a time that you are facing such a significant skilled shortage? And so he started talking about, I worry about sexual harassment allegations. I worry about women going on maternity leave. And so as much as this might frustrate some of the stakeholders listening to this workshop, those are some of the realities that we're trying to change. So I said, well, what if we provided ways and encourage companies that, if women go on maternity leave, it's no longer just the woman that's deciding to take a maternity leave. It's now parental leave. That we live in Canada where the government has provided the opportunity for both encouraging parents to take parental leave. So in years to come, we're going to even just see a shift in that process. And so then it's going to force companies to really reevaluate how they see that gap in employment. But we know that that's always impacted women in accessing these pathways. The sexual allegations, I say, we live in a very globalized economy, and ultimately, in order to really succeed in this economy and within your own industry, you need to be worried about all harassments that's happening in your workforce, and really build a community around a healthy workplace, and not only worry about sexual harassment and put the burden on the women, is create a workforce that's going to respect each other, and employees that will respect each other regardless of gender, background, origin, religion, and really embrace that type of culture. And it needs to start at the top. So those are conversations that we do often have with some of our stakeholders. A lot of them are progressive. Some are smaller or medium, or have not been able to really change their approach. And so we work as an organization very closely with them to help them create an environment that is not only going to attract women into the industry, but retain them. And then we believe that perception is also the underlying factor. I'm sure we've all heard about why skilled trade jobs are not great jobs, but yet we know that they have great income opportunities, great opportunities for mobility, great opportunities for advancement, and you know, truly the sky is the limit. So one of the things that we do challenge is that these are not just dirty jobs. They're not just unskilled jobs. They're actually very highly skilled, highly needed, and highly paid opportunities. And so we try to create our campaigns like the Every Message Matters. And if you go to our YouTube channel, we have different video marketing campaigns that we launch. And that's what we encourage stakeholders to do as well. How do you begin to profile and highlight the phenomenal pathways within your own industry? And we encourage you to share that on your social media platforms. Tell stories. People want to know how these pathways are successful and why they're actual great jobs. If we recognize that they're not as profiled in the media and in movies like we would like them to, so that it's easy for you to make that connection, you know, this is what a doctor looks like, or this is what a teacher is, or this is what a nurse practitioner does, then we need to now do that job and get the message out to our audience so that they see these as great, viable career pathways. And it's all in our messaging, our marketing, and telling our story about these pathways. So at the end of the day, we do believe perception, gender bias, and mindset plays the ultimate role in the skilled trade shortage. And if we begin to tackle them at the grassroots level, we're going to begin to see a shift in the way youth see these pathways. And we're going to see more parents encouraging their children and navigating these careers. Ultimately, as parents, we know that they want their child to be successful. We know that they want them to make a good income, a stable income, have security, and work within a workplace that's that influences a healthy workplace. So if we know all of that, how do we begin to shape these pathways to meet those goals that both the youth and the parents have when they're trying to help their children navigate the system? So we say that the best way to predict the future is to create it, and that's where all of our programs and services support the skilled trade shortage. We like to tap into the other 50% of the population, where we feel companies will have the greatest opportunity to recruit from that population and influence them in making those informed decisions and getting into these great skilled trades jobs. And then together, we believe we will move forward. It's going to take many different communities, stakeholders, organizations at all levels, government at all levels, to really see a shift in the way that we encourage and support youth to pursue these pathways. But it's all, we have all the tools in our toolbox, and we're able to really shape how young people see themselves in these industries in the future. And we know that not every person is destined to go to college or university, and that apprenticeship needs to be equally weighed when we're encouraging youth to select a career and what that career pathway may look like, and how they can transition throughout their career journey to a different role so that they could possibly try something new out. Even if they were to start off in the skilled trades, they might go into teaching a class at the college level in the school skilled trades. So one of the things we did find is that we need to change the messaging and how we recruit youth into these pathways, as I mentioned earlier, but also better understand what are the thoughts that go through a young woman's mind when she's thinking about these pathways. So we know that the first thing that they ask themselves, if they're considering going into a workshop that is more related to skilled trades or going into a tech class, the first thing she'll say is, am I good enough? Can I actually do it? Like the intimidating and self-esteem factor plays a significant role. And that's why oftentimes teachers will talk about, I had a girl start in my tech class, but then after the first week, she realized she was the only one and she left. So we know that they're questioning their ability to do the role or the job, even before they even give themselves the chance to try it. Then they ask if it's hard. So they wonder if they did try, will it be embarrassing? Will they be able to do it? What if they can't do it? So we need to encourage youth to challenge themselves, try new things, and encourage them to make mistakes along the way, because that's the only way they're going to learn and explore these pathways. And we know that young women still think that that's a man's job. They think of, we need to all think of our own bias and how information in general is presented. Do we have our own unconscious bias, and how do we check in with ourselves, challenge those biases, and really remove gender when it comes to encouraging youth to go into their career path, and just make it based on their interests, their opportunity, and exploring new pathways. And then we also know that young women often talk about wanting to help, going to professions as nursing, teaching, doctor, because they want to help. So how do we now change that messaging when we're trying to recruit more youth into the skilled trades? So I often use the example as, you could help build buildings, you can help build hospitals if you go into construction, or become an electrician. You can help people turn their lights on if you go into electrician. And it might sound a little silly, but if that's what is the intrinsic reasons why youth are pursuing these pathways, then we need to start speaking their language and help them connect those pieces so they are more encouraged or inclined or excited about these opportunities. I had a young woman, this is a great example, talk about how she began her career path by going into the pre-health science nursing program at St. Clair College. She was in high school in grade 12, and I talked to her class about the different opportunities that they could go into within the skilled trades. And she started her nursing program a year later at the college, which was a predominantly female program. And so she sent me a message a year later that read a little something like this. She talked about how she selected this program, and then that summer she applied for a central office technician at Bell Canada. So this position involved wiring high-speed lines, working with high-voltage equipment, and climbing ladders and soldering. And she absolutely loved it. And it was that conversation that we had a year prior where I was empowering young women to really rethink their role in the workforce and really give themselves the opportunity to explore. And in this letter, she talked about how she felt that she chose the safe choice. So she realized that originally she had chosen nursing because I wanted to be a nurse. Instead, I made the common mistake of choosing a program because I felt it was a safe option. It was because of your presentation that I was able to have the courage to set aside my safe choice and pursue a career in the skilled trades. So there is a lot to be said about, youth choosing the safe choice, choosing the choice that's been followed by so many that they see their peers pursuing, and really helping them empower themselves and encourage them to not necessarily choose a safe choice because that's what everyone's doing. Choose the choice that you want because that's where you see yourself for the next 10, 15, 20, 40 years in your career pathway. So I absolutely love this example because it really shapes how we use our messaging to empower the decisions that youth are making within the skilled trades. So it's important for us not to just disseminate the information. Engagement's going to be key. Assuming that if we put a flyer about these pathways and then thinking that youth are just going to gravitate to it is not the only solution that we encourage stakeholders to take. It needs to take a multi-pronged approach. There needs to be different touch points, and there needs to be different approaches based on the audience that you're presenting to in order to engage them in this process. So our process is that we are very complete. We bring everyone together so there are no gaps in the planning process. We know that in order for young women to feel that they have the information they need to make these choices, we bring industry, education, community, and their parents to the table. We feature females because we want to highlight diverse professional women that students can relate to. And we bring on employers because we want to make sure that they do believe that there are jobs should they pursue this pathway. And we make it fun. And I often talk about the dream experience. And I always say that it's my favorite event of the year because I do see their eyes light up, their connection to the panel, their connection to industry, and their excitement as they walk and leave our event because we made it fun and we made it engaging and we made it relatable. So if there's anything that I could say, if you have a marketing strategy or you're hosting an event, put the fun in career planning because I'm sure we can all reflect back to that process. And it is a very daunting and stressful process. And why not as stakeholders invested in getting more youth into the skilled trades, making it a fun process. So information can become a tool to create positive change. So engagement coupled with the right information, we will begin to see the skilled trade shortage decrease. So setting female students in tech classes. So getting more young women into the tech classes. I often hear that, like, how do I get more females to take tech classes so that we begin to build that pipeline? We know that unless you have 3 female students start a class together, that the likelihood of them continuing, not dropping out and actually taking another tech class is very minimal. So if we know that it's going to take a minimum of 3 young women signed up to a class, then one thing that we could do is get creative with our times table. So if we know that there's a young woman through guidance that says she's encouraged to try out a tech class, and there are 3 other females, but there are different classes at different times happening, why not group them together and put them all in the same class? If there was only 1 female, then we need to feature a female role model or mentor for her at the onset of beginning that program so we can keep her engaged. Because we know that through the recruitment and registration process, it's very intimidating knowing that you're the only one amongst an all-boys class to stay in that class, and engaging her through connecting her to a female from either the school or even industry will be really helpful for her to really see herself in that atmosphere. And then the classroom experience, back to challenging our own unconscious biases, the messaging we use, the dialogue that we create within the classrooms. I think, oftentimes, I'm guilty of this when I just say, hey guys, recognizing that there's different genders within the 2 different genders within the room, and being a little bit more gender neutral in addressing the classroom, and also setting the tone of what a healthy, free of harassment classroom looks like, and not allowing their peers to really impact that their experience within the class. And then if we know that engagement is key and that retention might be a challenge to keep women in the tech classrooms, that there needs to be strategies to ensure there's touch points with these females. And I'm not talking about preferred or preferential treatment. What I'm talking about is it's that difference between equality and equity, and knowing that some people may need a little bit of more support to get them to the same starting line as their peers. And I feel that until more women are accessing these pathways, we're going to need to do a little bit more to make sure that they're engaged in these classrooms. So that's one example that I wanted to give of what I mean by having a full engagement process that's not only connecting youth to information, but engaging them in that process. So what have parents and their daughters said after they've left our event? They say that the speaker shared real stories, talked about universal challenges and decision points. They talk about how they thoroughly enjoyed themselves and how they are more knowledgeable about their possible career choices. And they say that they had a fantastic time and it was an incredible opportunity to really network and recruit with their future workforce, and that's from industry. So I'm asking you, what language are you using to recruit with? What messaging are you sending out, both conscious and unconscious, that you might feel is impacting not only your attraction, your recruitment, your retention, and your advancement process, whether in the classroom or in the industry? So one of the things that we did through the years after hearing all this feedback from companies and from stakeholders is we launched our Workforce Innovators Network, where it's bold actions drive change. And the network is a place for you to join the movement and demonstrate your commitment to creating a balanced workplace. So we talk a lot about attracting and helping recruit more women into the industry, but we really need to do a lot of work in retaining and advancing women within the industry. And that's where the Workforce Innovators Network comes into play. We believe that every stakeholder needs to take a pledge and needs to have a commitment to diversity and inclusion within their industries and within their classrooms, and that we could do that by supporting each other in the different approaches and strategies that we take. But another thing is that we have our voice at the table, but how do we encourage more people to bring the gender diversity and inclusion lens to every table that they're at and within their network? So we've started this speakers lineup where we're recruiting speakers from across Canada that are committed to diversity and inclusion, that really want to see a change in the workforce, and that really want to support the movement of creating more equitable and equal workplaces for all to succeed. So we're in the process of recruiting speakers and champions. So if you want to speak publicly about the work that you're doing, we encourage you to sign up to the WIN movement. However, if you're not interested in being at the forefront and speaking to an audience, but you want to be part of the movement, but really influence your network, then we encourage you to also sign up as a champion of diversity and inclusion. All this information can be found on our website at thewinmovement.com. You can also access it through our Build a Dream website at www.webuildadream.com. And we can't do what we do without our generous supporters from education and associations and unions that fund 80% of the work that we do. We are a not-for-profit organization, but unfortunately we have yet to receive any government funding. We are in the process of applying for government support. But in the meantime, we've been able to build relationships with industry partners and unions while really building relationships with educators who help fund the actual cost of the event. And then our corporate sponsors fund all of our programs and services that we do in our and the infrastructure to roll out our services. So special thanks to all of our community partners that help us do the work that we do. And then we encourage everyone to follow us on social media. You'll notice how we profile female mentors. If you have a great initiative you'd like us to share that's getting more youth into the skilled trades, more women into these pathways, we'd love to profile you either on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. We're also on LinkedIn, where we share what industry is doing to help attract more women into the industry. So please feel free to follow us, share what you're doing with us, because we do believe that we're stronger together. And it's not about reinventing the wheel. It's about collectively working together as a nation to really help bridge the skilled trade shortage and help our youth get into high-paying jobs that will lead to great success for them in the future. I really appreciate you joining our webinar. And I hope that to me by emailing me at noor@webuildadream.com. And if you're interested in partnering or having us host Build a Dream event within your region, please reach out to me, because we'd love to network with you and work with different stakeholders from across Canada. Again, thank you to the Canadian Apprenticeship Forum for inviting me to do this webinar. I look forward to sitting on a panel in a few days. And I look forward to also working on a national strategy with CAF and over 60 stakeholders that are invested in moving the needle for women in the skilled trades. Thank you so much, and I hope to hear from all of you.
Thank you so much, Noor, for sharing all of that great information and some really empowering insights today. I'm just going to go back to the slide that has your social media. I really encourage all of our members to follow Build a Dream on social media and to continue to learn about their initiatives and all of the work that they're doing to expand their program throughout Canada. Thank you again for everybody joining us today, and feel free to reach out to either CAF or to Noor at Build a Dream if you have any questions on how to collaborate or continue the work in your own areas. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a fantastic day.